Okay, Glitch Reaper here. I'm doing something remarkably different right now, and yeah, it's been a little while. I've had a lot of things going on, including, oddly enough, just the fact that because of how I've locked a profile into being the latest snapshot, currently the latest snapshot isn't technically part of the Caves and Cliffs update, so that one was on me, so I can't actually play it until I have an actual snapshot, because the latest thing was 1.16.5, which was not part of the Caves and Cliffs update, but rather just a refinement of the previous, so that happened. Meanwhile, what is it that I'm doing that's so special, and why am I holding what's obviously a variation of goat horn? Well, that is an interesting question with an interesting answer, because you may notice I'm in 1.7.10. Yeah, and I'm wearing armor that looks a little pinkish purple or magenta-ish. Well, that's because it's made of amethyst. That's right, all the way back in 1.7.10 we had various aspects of the Caves and Cliffs update already in. What this is actually about those kinds of features. And the fact that we've actually had these kind of things in at least modded Minecraft for quite some time. The inspiration has been there, so for those trying to compare between the recent thing with a hightail in Minecraft and thinking that maybe they're going to copy each other, well, while that may or may not be true, it's also more of a thing that these things have already been in the community's mind for a long time, some of which playing off real life, so to speak, and some things not so much, and just being like ideas for Minecraft that have been there for a long time. And one of those things may, to get the actual knowledge of how it works out, require me to warp myself again. Yeah, that's right. I have Thaumcraft in here because there's Thaumcraft features that actually go that far back. And that's the thing, a lot of mods you wouldn't expect to have such features did, because they're kind of just miscellaneous ideas they had that just happened to be finally out in Caves and Cliffs. So just think about that. And some of these mods also have had things that have been in later versions of Minecraft after 1.7.10 and have since been out, like for example Thaumcraft having its own banner system before banners were released in 1.8 and beyond. So that was also a thing that was a big example. And there's like all sorts of examples, like Natura having berry plants, and now we have them as part of the Village and Pillage update that was out a while back. So yeah, a lot of these things have come to pass. So my big point is I love how modded Minecraft and vanilla play off each other. It's not so much about vanilla and Hightail, partially because Hightail wasn't a thing until recently. And let me just do a casual view and see if I can happen to find one of the berry bushes real quick. Don't worry, I will know where my spot is. I can turn back around. I guess got a little traveling music. See, berry bushes. Although I believe those are actually the ones from Biomes O Plenty. Again, more than one mod having the same idea, so you can kind of see where I'm coming from. And look, it's a fox! Yep, that's right, we also had foxes way before Village and Pillage. This is probably a Mo Creatures fox. I actually don't have Wyla on right now, or for damage indicators. I just did a very minimal mod profile to show off these features. That said, I think it's time to turn off the traveling music for a little while. Even though it is nice, it's time to go into the serious conversation mode of all these things. You may notice this beautiful block setup here. It's all amethyst block. Obviously, this isn't how amethyst block turned out in Caves and Cliffs, because this is a storage block type. This is like the classic, like, put in 9 units, you can get 9 back out if you want to type. So this was like how it was back then, in terms of an idea of how amethyst would be. And the same thing pretty much occurred on ore spawn, actually, with it being more purple than magenta. But you kind of get the idea. And even the same idea of having it actually produce like arms and armor in ore spawn was pretty much similar. But we still got amethyst nonetheless. And that's, again, part of my point here, is we got all these features that were basically way before Caves and Cliffs that's been out for a long time. And you notice a lot of these stalagmites and even a bit of stalactite here. I mean, we have stalagmite here, and we have stalactites over here, is what I was really saying. And one of them isn't even phrased that, it's phrased icicle. That's right, we had cave biome ideas way back when. And some of this will be cave variants in caves and cliffs rather than like full biomes. Like we may actually get icy caves. Like it could be that, oh, it's not going to be a biome. Well, what they might not be saying is it's going to be a variant. That's not necessarily true or not true yet. We'll have to see. This is done before Caves and Cliffs is actually fully out, so we'll see how that goes. So this is a bit of supposition here and a bit of history. You may note I have a few spawn eggs here, and that's for various reasons. And in fact, let's just say it goes with this horn. So, yeah. We have the Crumblehorn, and its function is very different from what we got with the goat horn. But it's basically a goat's horn, and you actually get it from a large creature with horns is a quest reward in Twilight Forest, the quest ram. Note goats aren't technically rams, but I mean, it's the same general idea. You're getting a creature's horn from a creature that's pretty much passive, and it just happens to have a way of giving you its horn. The quest is a little different. In Twilight Forest, you give it lots of different wool to complete itself. In vanilla, you get a goat to run itself into a tree. We also have different ideas of what a horned passive would look like. We have the big horned sheep here from Twilight Forest. We have goats from Mo Creatures. Now, there's big ideas of differences between the two. And I have a grudge against goats specifically because of Mo Creatures. And that is because they will eat any item entity on the ground. Yeah, that's right. In fact, I will have you dispose of your own spawn egg. You eat those things. You see? It eats anything. Also, there's a weird glitch I'm getting where my skin isn't showing up quite right. I don't think I put layers on my skin, but I don't know what that's doing. Yeah. So we got a different function for Crumblehorn from Twilight Forest compared to vanilla. In Twilight Forest, it does something very special and different. I'm going to show what that is by doing just a quick little line of stone here on my little demonstration area. So let's just put this here, and if this happens to damage this area too, we'll see. Yeah, this is what the Crumblehorn used to do. Is it would take blocks and cause them to kind of go through an entropic state of decay. Where they would become other things, or even break down if you got low enough. I'm trying to remember if... Yeah, I could break these too. But yeah, you are not using a goat horn as a tool like this in vanilla. Sure, it makes a sound. It's considerably more musical than this horn, trust me. I mean, this sounds like a very angry goat. Much more so than any ram. This sounds like an angry goat. But, yeah, that's what it was in Twilight Forest, in terms of a horn that you could hold and make a sound with. What else did we have from Twilight Forest? Well, several things, actually. If I just ignore the elephant, we don't have elephants planned in Minecraft right now. Although it could be a false statement later. You never know. I've been adding in a lot of things over time, so we'll see. Well, we have the fact that torchberries kind of resemble what they've got in mind for glowberries and their vines, and there's more to it than that. And there's also a bit of additional mossy stuff I can show off from Wisco Tangy Fox's Expedition Cave Biomes, which I think he later remade into Wild Caves 3, I think now. Anyhow, moving right along, we have these beautiful little torchberry plants, or torchberry vines. I don't think you can attach them to a tree. Okay, you decided to disappoint me there, tree. So, Yeah. Do I have a convenient cave overhang? Yes, I do, kind of. Yeah, it's close enough. But yeah, notice how these form kind of a dangling uh, thing with a very short vine with glowing berries. Torchberry plants do this, so it's something that they don't become very long and dangly. But we're also going to have in the caves update, or caves and cliffs, we're going to have roots coming from trees, usually very specific trees. So imagine this tree here had roots under it. You'd go under the tree, and you'd find these dangling, like root strands, is what they're called. They can go off of. Okay, they apparently can't go on every surface here. That's kind of surprising. Admittedly, there's a lot more dirt and stone in Twilight Forest than there is sand. So, yeah, there's things you only notice when you're doing a special on it. So it's like you see these dangling roots and coming off, and in Caves and Cliffs, this will be mostly from a particular tree, the azalea tree, which I'm surprised didn't have a version of it between Natura and Biomes O Plenty. I put it both in, and I didn't know if they had it, but I just tried, and no, they do not. So it is going to be a unique tree, actually. But it will have various parts of these features, like it will have these, like it'll have like root strands dangling below it, because it'll be kind of like a marker above. You'll see the azalea tree above. You'll follow its root system down and below, and then you'll see the lush, the lush caves. Now, there may be variants where it's not really kind of like these. It might be, and I'm not sure entirely what their properties are going to be because it's not out yet. But it might be kind of like these root blocks, where they're like actual blocks, and like we had like, and they might even be a little mossy because you have some vines all over the place in the lush caves, so it could look a little like this. And in fact, there's something we can do to make it even more, because Twilight Forest also had moss that you could put on top of things. And notice how it, like, in Twilight Forest, like, increases the size of the moss with how much you've got around. Like, at first it's a little bitty thing, and it gets bigger, as it kind of looks like it's spreading. But we'll have moss, including these patches in Caves and Cliffs. So again, all this is back in 1.7.10. I mean, how much foresight was that? But for these mod authors to come up and say, yeah, this is what we're going to have someday in Minecraft. Or just saying, this is what we'd like to have in Minecraft. And hey, look, it comes true. They're like, hey, we guessed right. So isn't that just positively amazing? And we will probably have like a berry variant of the glow berries. So that whole torchberry thing is pretty much what it's going to be like. Now, I will have to replace a few things, because we'll have other features like Caves and Cliffs stuff here. Like, remember stalagmites are going to be in? Oh, they're made of a very particular mineral, dripstone, and it can go in various ways. But this is kind of like what you find in, like, Biomes O Plenty and Wisco Tangy Fox's mods that heavily revolve around caves. But in vanilla, it's actually going to look more dramatic than that. It actually looks kind of better in the new vanilla forms, because it blends in a bit too much in a way. Like, it just looks like normal stone, just pointed up. And on the opposite, you of course have some of these things. And again, this is a Biomes O Plenty version, but Wisco Tangy Fox, I mean, this guy, he had variations he was thinking of. And since we're going to be having cave variants in addition to actual cave biomes, well, this could be interesting. In fact, let me check out these cave vines and see how they dangle. Are you gonna... they're like normal vines. They're just a different shade of green. Yeah. Now, how about this, let's start off with some of these other mossy components that, he had in mind. See, we had, mossy dirt blocks. These are, again, Wisco Tangy Fox's, like, cave biome variations and stuff these got. And, extending out this way, we have, some mossy stone. From what I've seen, there's gonna be, like, full moss blocks in Caves and Cliffs. So, you may or may not have more mossy variants of things, though. And that could be a thing, is you might have things that have been mossified. that aren't normally mossified. We already have, like, mossy cobblestone. But it's just, more things might have a mossy look where they've been blended with moss and not just moss on top of it or a full block of moss that just happens to be there, but things that are blended with moss. So this is something that could be in caves and cliffs, but I don't know about that. I'm just how mossy will the lush caves be? I'm not sure. But you did have the idea of more things being mossy that's been kind of around for a while. And now, let's, by the way, Wisco Tangy Fox also had his own version of roots dangling down. Yep, those do look kind of nice and just blend in at the same time. So it's kind of a bit of both. It's like you look up and it's like, oh wait, there's a root. Okay. So, and of course he had various versions of stalactites. The roots, well, they're not exactly a stalactite, but they dangle like one. Oh, let's see if I can find a nice stony location to do this with. Is there anything nearby that just happens to be a cave? That would be beautiful if there was, because I'm trying to show off caves and cliffs features upcoming, but in like early versions, as supposed by mod creators. Another example. Hey look, we had coral ideas this far back. I mean, that became a big thing later. A really big thing later. Oh, wait, is that a structure, or is that anything that I can use for caving? Now, I'm probably going to have to burrow. Because some of these things would look better in a cave than they would as, like, just me dangling them over there. I did make an overhang just in case. Although there is a variant I would in particular like to note. And that's these glowstone stalactites. Like, if we eventually have cave variations in the nether, then wouldn't you think that would look cool? Just having these little pieces of glowstone you might be able to nick for like one glowstone dust or silk touch just to take the stalactite. And then just made out of glowstone just dangling. That would look really cool. But there are some types that go with the idea of cave variations, because he did come up with the sandstone design. Now, will this hold? It's updated one, but it broke on the moss. Okay, that's hilarious. Okay, but yeah, like if you're in like a desert cave, these would be around. So if we're having like cave variants that are based on the biome in Caves and Cliffs update, then maybe this idea is going to be more like it. Or you also have like some of them that blend in as well. But right now we just have dripstone, and it's its own thing. Like, we don't have variations of stalactites and stalagmites. So these have been cool ideas, but we're going to be getting it a bit different because of the whole dripstone thing. In fact, can I even... Let me see if... Well, I might be able to brace this one. Yeah, see, there's a stone one. And I don't really have... I could grab some ice and show this off. I forgot the fish would be here. Yeah. Hey, goat, I have some items for you to nibble. Yeah, that's right, I'm actually willingly giving you items, even though I would gladly sacrifice you to Jazahar at any time. just saying that you are totally not my priority, but I will give you some extra stuff just because I've already shown it off. So you just take those. So you are officially my disposal unit. Do I want to... Yeah, I want to go ahead and toss those. So yeah, you just munch everything. I can always use pick block, and ironically eat your own horn. He'll find his route to those things eventually. Trust me. He will find a way. Okay, so because oh yeah, now I remember. I was going to actually grab some ice of some sort. Okay, ice. Yeah, that's right. Is there packed? Yeah, we do have packed ice. Okay. So, let's say you have an icy biome. And if we had a cave variation, let's let's put a little bit of this stuff here and there. So let's make this look like a mini icy cave just along here. And let's say it's just dangling with icicles. See, you got little dangling icicles here and there. Now we could have something like that show up even if dripstone is mainly the only type of the only type of true stalagmites and stalactites we get for other things. We'll probably still have things like the dangling tree roots, because I'm pretty sure that will be there, and I know they've mentioned that several times, and I've mentioned it a few times already. But yeah, but what if we had icicles in icy caves? Whether or not they'd fall down, I mean, it would be natural. So icicles in icy caves, I could see that being a thing. So they've had that idea in advance. So if it happens to come true in caves and cliffs, then we know that we've seen it coming. Again, don't always think Hytale and Minecraft will be mimicking each other, because it's not exactly how it's going to all work. Because again, we've had mods for a long time. Now, what was this moss going to look like? Because this is the one from Wiskotangi Fox's stuff. Wait, that... Okay, that works way differently than I thought it would. It just mossifies something. Okay, so that doesn't count as... It even took it out of creative. That I also did not see coming. I would have to grab more moss if I was going to do that in any way, but I don't think we're going to get anything like that in vanilla anytime soon. It'll be more like these moss patches where they're over it, and also, well, I know there's going to be full block versions as well. We've seen that in pictures before, so we know that's going to be part of the process. Now, as for other things, I would like to turn your attention to a little something from Tinker's Construct. Can I equip this in any way other than doing this? Okay, press... Oh, it's not doing that thing right now. That's cool. Okay, press Z to zoom. Yee! Zoom. 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 Yep. Yeah, this works like a spyglass on your head. That's basically how the Traveler Goggler got... Darn, I'm having a bad lip day. It's the return of that, because I did this while I was... This has been in the middle of a very dry winter, so things happen. Can you zoom while holding them? No, you cannot. So it doesn't work like you're using the other things, so let's go away from that. Going back with the theme of icy things, though, here's a little something from SecretRooms. You may notice that we're on a beach, so anything that I do will show up tremendously, right? I mean, you'd think that anything that I did would just show up and be obvious as anything other than sand. Well, let's just show how that little supposition could get somebody in trouble, because in caves and cliffs, we have a little something called powdered snow, and it acts a bit as a nasty trap, because it can freeze you. In fact, let's add a nasty trap below. What do I want to have for a nasty trap? Let me think. Maybe stalagmites, because they're pointy. If I can aim at it properly. Okay, I have aimed at it properly. So let's put some nice pointy things at the bottom, shall we? Oh wait, does it have to be on stone? That would be interesting placement. Guess it has to be on some kind of stone. Okay, So, the thing is, in secret rooms, you could create ghost blocks, and they take the texture of whatever is close to them. This is not something in vanilla or going to be, it's just the way the mod works. But it will set up something that is in vanilla, because powder snow looks almost perfectly like normal snow. Get lips, we've discussed this before, and it is dry weather. But it looks just like normal snow. And the thing is that it acts pretty much incorporeal. You fall through it. And it will slow you down when it comes to actual powdered snow. We've seen this. And it also will chill you. You won't have to have something specifically beneath it if it's already deep enough, because if you're in powdered snow, you will be gradually froze to death. This stuff, it makes a good trap, but you need something else to make it complete. So this is a two-part system. In vanilla, it's just one thing, and that's powder snow, which is actually way harder to get a hold of than ghost blocks. Like, seriously, the actual recipe behind ghost blocks is absurdly cheap by comparison to creating powdered snow. So let's just say that it is expensive to handle. Yeah, like by a lot. Another thing is, you may have noticed the drip leaf plants. Well, they have a feature that is oddly enough replicated by a mob in a previous version. Or rather, this feature was around first, and it's something that you wouldn't even think of. This is a mob that can mimic block properties in terms of acting like a block in general, not like it mimics any particular block. But this is a lily lurker from primitive mobs. What they do is they act like a block, and you can even jump on them. But if I were in survival, they would attempt to attack me very briefly after I did so. So let me grab myself a weapon and prepare to, well, ignore that, that's a test item. Should I primordial claymore? I could totally primordial claymore. It is a handy sword. Let's, yeah. Again, totally nothing related with the caves and cliffs. This is just the primordial claymore. But anyhow, these particular mobs operate very differently. Man, I'm really out of it today. I've had a lot of things I've been dealing with, sorry. So, things just happen to be off. But yeah, they won't even attack you when you're near them. They only wait for you to jump on them. So, even though the drip leaf plant is truly a block in a plant and works very differently, you can kind of pretend that the dynamics are similar. Because drip leaf plants, if you're on top of them for any length of time, or not really any length of time, but for a short length of time, they will drop you like a rock. These things will attack you briefly after you've had your moment to jump on them. So I can jump across them really quickly, but then if I stay on them for very long, they'll attack me. See, they give you a little bit of delay, which is kind of like being on drip leaf plants. So act fast. See, I didn't disturb a single one, and I'm in survival. So that shows how these little guys work. But let's say I wanted to actually anger one. Let's see if I can make it specific. Like, let's make it only the one at the very end. But note, even if you're underwater, they usually won't actually bother you. But again, this is a dynamic very different from how drip leaf works, but also kind of similar the same way. Because drip leaf will be, if you're on it for a length of time, you will drop. In this case, if you're on them for a length of time, they will just straight out attack you because they're actually a mob in disguise. See? They're starting to attack. See? They don't actually have much health, and they drop a few things, but, yeah. See, that shows how it's very different, because they are mobs, they are not actually going to be like the plant and block They are just mobs that happen to have a property that makes it like it. So if you want practice with how drip leaf plants work, if you were thinking of if you did them at water level, like let's say you wanted to make a moat. Well, you do it out of drip leaf plants, and that's something I've been thinking of with the drip leaf plant is a big deal, that you could make a moat with it, because if a mob is on top of a drip leaf plant, it will do the same thing. Now, I don't think that's true of these guys. Like, for example, if I were to spawn a sheep on top of them, would they react to the sheep? Like, are they, in essence, neutral mobs that will attack anything? This is just a question of the mod. Not exactly, but after the sheep was on them for a moment, they did drop down. They will eventually float back up whenever they have the opportunity and disguise themselves in place again. Just saying. So kind of like how the drip leaf will restore itself, that's also a dynamic they kind of do. In fact, I think they're also acting like a block even while they're there. So okay, I can't go down directly on top of them. The sheep is officially just kind of... I forgot this thing has a sweep. That is a mod feature that I forgot this had in this configuration. So, yeah, it's not like I was, really trying to annihilate them there. It just happened. So, in fact, let's just put these around there to make it even more like they're in disguise, because they're amongst normal, inconspicuous lily plants. Yeah, let's just leave them there, and they will eventually equilibrate with their environment again. Although you can also kind of tell that their texture is a little different. But that, again, this is dynamics from a mod way back in the day by comparison. This has nothing to do with caves and cliffs in terms of how it's actually going to act, because the actual drip leaf plant is a plant. It's not a mob. Hey, you goat, disposal unit. You would just get rid of these things for me. Maybe, just maybe, I'll unkarma you at some point. I'm not sure. I'm still debating that, goat. But I'm still sorely tempted that sometime in the far off, but not too far off future, when Abyssal Craft goes over into the Caves and Cliffs territory of 1.17, that I will gladly sacrifice a goat several times over to go with my grudge. Just saying. I'm sorry if you find that a little grim, but if you knew the stories of what happened to me with goats while I was playing crazy Minecraft, then you would totally be sympathetic. Trust me, it's not nice what they did to me. There's so many resources I could have had that they munched because they just walked into the right cave at the right time. Just so much. Okay, other things that happened back in this version. We have some things that have to do with Thaumcraft, actually. You may notice all the candles. Yeah, that's right, more than one mod back in the day has had candles before they've shown up in Minecraft, finally. So, let's show off just the different colors of candles that we have here, just to be nice and decorative. I threw off my order. I thought it would go in exact order, but no, it did not. It did not at all. I have a particular way I like doing my colors, because I do them kind of according to how the spectrum works out in Minecraft in certain ways. It is just a thing that I do as to how I organize anything that has all the colors. So it's just a thing. Now, things that have less colors, maybe not doing it that way at all, because it might just go in different ways. But let's just show off some candles. Thing is, we have, and in Thaumcraft, yeah, Asinor saw ahead on this one, because guess what? All the colors of the Minecraft spectrum are here, just like just like the later candles are. So let's just swap some of this out. So, just so you see them all. Now the thing is, vanilla candles are made from beeswax, not from tallow or something else like that. So, there is, but at the same time, they both go historically with what candles have been made from in the past. So that's a thing to consider, is that both have actually gone off real-world candle history. That it wasn't always the kind of wax that we traditionally associate with candles now. So that's a thing to think of. They were both going with real-world inspiration. And also it should be noted that vanilla candles, they need to be lit with flint and steel or a blaze charge or something. These candles are just automatically lit. And for that matter, have additional purpose. And if Thaumcraft ever comes back, I could see him just taking vanilla candles and saying, yeah, let's just go ahead and just incorporate that in as an infusion stabilizer. So, in terms of how it works out, there is that. Let me tap these back in. All you candles, just go back in. Just be nice and fine. And this one got out of order, but I'll just group it. Now, we also have the idea of having a bag rather than a backpack being what you put extra items in. In this case, we have the Bag of Tricks. It's more traditionally like how in mods you've had backpacks and stuff before, where you click on it and you just put stuff in and out. And I don't think that you can use it to automatically store stuff in by clicking. Yeah, that does not work. So the bundle's ability to be used within your inventory is so different than how any modder really did it before. Like, I can't think of any mods off the top of my head that let you do that by simply clicking on it while it's in your inventory while you're holding it. Usually you have it in your inventory, you click on it when you have it in your hand, and then you access it. But there's different tricks you can do with the actual vanilla bundles, including having stuff just spat out into a chest. Like, you could take a bundle and just click stuff out into the chest and not have to deal with it much in world. And while I'm here, I might as well rearrange these, because this one little thing off has got me pondering. Actually, these two need to be switched. And this goes here. There we go. Okay, now I feel better now. Now, you're probably wondering, what's up with this block? And why does that tie in with caves and cliffs later? Well, I'm about to show you. Now, the Bag of Tricks, it's not from, how should I put this, vanilla Thaumcraft. No, it's the base mod. It's actually from a mod called Witching Gadgets. Now, there is the focus pouch in base Thaumcraft, however, and it's one that only gives you the ability to put in certain kinds of items in it, and that's the focuses for your wand. That's a bit different. The fact is, most things that you use for extra portable storage in mods are just in general, and they don't have any particular limitation. Now, there are variations of the Bag of Tricks, and some of them have features that you probably would think is kind of a side grade when it comes to comparing it with the Vanilla Bundle, because Vanilla Bundle allows you to do things within your inventory directly. This has more slots, in a way, because you can do like actual full stacks rather than a single mix stack, like with the Vanilla Bundle. But at the same time, the Bag of Tricks has other things it can do as well, and the bundle has its own things. So it's difficult to compare these two in a way. They're similar in that they help you store stuff, but they're also very different. You've seen me work with the bundle a bit before, and you've seen me work with Bag of Tricks and a few other items that allow you to store stuff before. So you can kind of think about that. Now, there's a variation specifically in Witching Gadgets that's really cool, and that's the Hungry bag, and it just sweeps stuff up off the ground right into it. So kind of like how the bundle lets you manipulate stuff in your inventory quickly and maybe tap through several things that were on the ground and you kind of suck them into your inventory as you're putting stuff in the bundle. Well, that would bypass that completely by allowing it to go directly into the Bag of Tricks. So we don't have things like that on bundles yet, although if in the future we have enchantments for it, I could see vacuum being one. And what would vacuum do? Exactly what I said the Bag of Tricks special version, the Hungry Bag, can do. That it would just suck stuff immediately out of the world instead of you having to actually click on it. Obviously, these would be a few specialty bundles, because you wouldn't want all of them to have that, because you want to have choice in some. But you could just like go and just suck stuff up. So that's just kind of an idea of combining those two items between modded and vanilla and going, well, why don't you make this variation? So there's just a wild thought. Now, back to the arcane ear, however. Sorry I got a little off track on that, but again, bundles being a big thing. And there are several things in Thaumcraft and the add-ons like witching gadgets. Like I was showing off the candles. They come from base Thaumcraft. The Bag of Tricks, that's from an add-on. We also had other things from Thaumcraft that kind of came out like banners. I mentioned that. But here's a whopper. You probably would not expect this one. So here is the coup de grace. First, I will have to do this. I will totally regret that if I'm back in this world for any reason. The reason why is I just activated the so-called cheat sheet version. What this does is, if you click on this, you get every bit of research in Thaumcraft, including all of your add-ons. But you also get all of the permanent warp that goes with it. So that's why I said I would probably regret that if I ever come back to this world for any reason. So hopefully I will do this only for a demonstration of stuff that was around much earlier and is now coming true in Caves and Cliffs. But the arcane ear is the one you would least suspect of being something this far back as an idea. And in fact, I think it was even farther back, because it may have been not just in Thaumcraft 4, but in Thaumcraft maybe 3, maybe even 2. I'd have to look back a bit on that. But the arcane ear does something absurdly cool. I believe it's in Artifice. It's what I'm looking for to the description of this thing. Shh, do you hear something? Oh yeah. You can tell this thing will be a bit interesting if you're doing this in actual modded. This is totally not how we're going to be getting something similar later in terms of how we're going to be getting it. Like, actually getting it as an object. This you have to do research, you craft. It's all to earn this one thing. In vanilla, what we'll be doing? We'll be exploring a deep, dark biome with dangerous things and possibly including something basically like an ultra elite. What does the arcane ear do that's so similar? Well, it's actually similar to a skulk sensor. Yeah, you probably were thinking, oh, that's such a revolutionary idea. Well, for those that were super into Thaumcraft, it's actually similar to this. And let me read why. The arcane ear is a device that is capable of detecting the sound emitted from nearby note blocks. If it hears a note it recognizes, it will emit a short redstone pulse. And the arcane ear needs to be tuned in a manner identical to note blocks. The tone and note it listens for depends on the material it is placed upon. So this basically listens to note blocks. This may be very, very specific by comparison, but it's also very similar to the skulk sensor, because what is it doing that's similar? This thing is listening to sound. The skulk sensor listens to vibration, which is admittedly not perfectly the same thing. But let me see if I can trigger this in a way. Because I need to... Well, let me just kind of show this off, if I can demonstrate it, because I wasn't quite entirely planning this far, actually. Okay, so let's go to wool, because wool has a history that's going to be interesting, because wool can change notes, so let's go with that. So let's say, oh, actually, never mind that. Let's do something. Oh, well, actually, let's go with it. Let's go with it. I redecided on the redecide there. Okay, so let's say I have these two things about this far apart. We have the arcane ear. We have the note block. Now, what did it say extra about this arcane ear? See, it's capable of detecting the sound emitted from nearby note blocks. If it hears it, it will emit a short redstone pulse. Well, that is also like how the skulk sensor works, that it emits a redstone pulse whenever it detects a vibration. Now, let's see how strong this is. That is a 15 length redstone wire right there. I know it was a quick count and I did it in my head, but you know. So let's say that we tune this the way that it says to do. Okay, that's 3. Okay, that's 3. So we haven't matched the same sound. Now the skulk sensor, it will actually do it very differently because it can do a lot of different sounds, and it doesn't have to be tuned. Partially because it's a living thing. This is a thaumaturgical marvel, but it's not the same as a living thing doing a similar job. So let's say now that I activate this one over here. Let's say I put this right here in. See? This active. Oh, well, you might not have seen. That may have been a little too fast. I need something I can activate. Let's get dramatic. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to be blowing part of my setup up because, again, this is just a demonstration world. I don't have to worry. So let's see if... This is why I said that I would regret doing that. I don't have the things on that help me get rid of this quickly. Partially because most of those are actually in later versions of Minecraft. Okay, but let's see if this is a full 15 strength signal. Because if it is, then it will go over... Actually, let's go ahead and leave it there. If it's a full 15 strength signal that this thing gives off, then it will blow up this TNT. Now, an actual skulk sensor, it gives off a strength that's actually, in a way, it's a strong signal, in a way it's weak. It depends on what you're using, because a comparator will actually have a skulk sensor give off a strength that's based on what it's hearing. This just gives off a short redstone pulse. So is it a full strong pulse? We'll see. Now, it might be that the strength of the signal period of the skulk sensor when it gives off the pulse is based on what it's hearing. But this, I think, only has one option. I think this is strong only. But note how over this distance, I have done the same thing as a skulk sensor. I've made a wireless redstone. I hit this button. This hears it. It sends it through the wire and blows a chunk out of the ground. So let's go for it. And I keep hearing a zombie over there. Oh, there he is. Hey, can you come over just a little further, zombie? I have a present for you. It's red, and it has letters on the front. You're actually walking in this direction. You didn't make it. Oh, well. You know, I have a very, very grudgy idea to do. I'm sorry. I kind of have to. I know this is kind of a little unfair, but I need to do it. Because, I swear, goats. Goats have been just the bane of me playing Mo Creature Sushi. And if this makes me feel better, just once, maybe, I will forgive vanilla goats in the future. Well, you're not necessarily a you, but you could be a you. I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying to remember if goats have gender in Mo Creatures or not. But okay, you are the messiah of goats. What I will do is I will have you pay for the transgressions of the goats that have been before you. So, if you perish here, goat, and I do solemnly swear to not have a grudge against the ones in vanilla unless they themselves do something bad to me. Then it will be a valid grudge again. Okay, so goat, this is gonna smart. Well, then again, it's probably gonna be too brief for you to really feel it. But anyhow, wireless redstone. Oh, that was perfect. Thank you. You have been a worthy sacrifice, goat. You have officially perished for the past transgressions and future transgressions of vanilla goats. In fact, let's just call the grudge off for that beautiful demonstration, because the Caves and Cliffs update has been coming for a long time. Like, we knew this would be a thing eventually. We wanted this. And, in fact, it goes so far back that we wanted this so much in 1.7.10 that these types of mods with these features existed. Again, we have cave variation mods, candles, goats. We have plants that can turn angry on you very quickly. Why are you affected by... Oh, that's right, me. But that's not anything to do with it. We have wireless redstone through sound. Although it's not exactly the same as vibration, but again, We have snow blocks that aren't really snowy enough for you to stand on. They're in fact too snowy. They're like a liquid. These are completely incorporeal, but they do the same thing, and would be a really nasty trap. We have various other cave features that will be coming up. Like we have the power of stalagmites and stalactites. We have dangly roots, mossier vistas underground. So that will be all sorts of stuff upcoming in Caves and Cliffs, and they were here in 1.7.10, just in modded rather than in vanilla, obviously. We have Amethyst coming up, including, of course, the beautiful crystal version. Although it actually, I like the vanilla versions of these actually more. So yeah, I do like the vanilla Amethyst, even though it doesn't allow you to do the other thing. So I mean, which is of course the usual thing people think of: make equipment out of it. We will be having zoom function in vanilla. Although it won't be equipment, it'll be, well, kind of. It's something you hold, you don't do that. So, it's a quick review of that. That's one of those things. So, and of course, we'll have additional storage in addition to our already really cool shulker boxes and ender chests of giving you more portable storage options. So, let's just face it, whenever you really nest portable storage options in Minecraft from now on, you will be able to go 3 layers deep. Just think of that. I used to love storage options so much. I still do, I just now know you have to be a little cautious of it or things go completely crazy. So, yeah. So, there's that. So, you can kind of see where I went with all this. It was all just to kind of show off features that have been prophesied ever since this version here at 1.7.10. So, we go way, way, way back. And you will never see armor like this in vanilla because they're not making it out of amethyst. But you will, however, see other cool stuff made of amethyst. It just won't be like this. We also have... Oh, wait. One more thing. I almost forgot. And because I blew up the goat, I can't officially feed him random items using him as my disposal anymore. Or her. I mean, again, could have been a you. Not entirely sure. But, yeah, one more thing. We now officially have copper. Say, yes, we have copper. Lots of copper. We won't be making equipment out of that either, but it's now officially a vanilla thing. And that's because of Caves and Cliffs. What else do you make with it? Well, you can make some cool stuff out of it in vanilla now. You can make, well, the spyglass that acts like the goggles I showed off earlier. You can also make storage, well, the vanilla block of copper isn't a storage block. It's kind of like how this amethyst block is not how we got it in vanilla. Like in vanilla, it's not a storage block. It's just like a one-way thing. Same thing with copper. We used to think copper blocks would be storage blocks. Not exactly. I mean, they're cool to make, but they're still not storage blocks in vanilla. This is a storage block in Tinker's Construct. Mods will probably be using vanilla copper from now on for everything that they previously did. So now, as a great part of Prophecies Fulfilled here, we will no longer have 15 types of copper in one mod pack. Oh, that will be glorious. You just think, no more of 15 types of copper in one mod pack. Or more than that. I seriously played a mod pack once that had 20 different types. I am not even kidding. It was just utterly ridiculous. Thank goodness for Forge making the Ore Dictionary, or that would have been beyond ridiculous. Just saying. Just beyond ridiculous. Oh dear. I'm glad that part will be over. So we've had so many of these things incoming for so long that I have officially been... I had to go more than half the number of versions I've been through back to get to just saying how far back a lot of this goes. Actually, I was actually been through even more versions than that, but that's besides the point. Anyhow, I'll be going off for now. I hope you enjoyed this kind of mod and vanilla history lesson of inspiration from mods that's kind of shown up in vanilla, especially in Caves and Cliffs, and been able to see things way back in 1.7.10 again. Maybe a few things were a bit more different in how they're working, but the spirit's still there. And I gotta also remember, a lot of modders are now working for Mojang. So you may see some of the people that previously worked on these mods working for Mojang, and maybe or maybe not adding in additional features that were in them into vanilla. So just think of that for the future, because that's been a popular thing, them pulling coders from the modding community. So with that thought of vanilla and modding, how they really do feed off each other, I'll be heading off for now. So I hope you've had a good time with this little view of things. So this is Glitch Reaper. I'll be signing off. Hope to hear from y'all later, and bye for now, everybody.